What's up everyone? Today we have to talk about Jacob's segment on SmackDown. This simply wasn't another segment. No, it wasn't, no. I would say this was more of an exposure of the Roman Reigns' myth. It's told very well, but it's a myth. Now on Raw, Jacob stood in the ring and said to Roman, I don't want your championship, I need it. Roman Reigns' response was simply, you're not ready? But as Jacob said, he's been hearing that his whole life. This sets the stage for a man who has nothing to lose versus a man who has everything to protect. Let's talk about the Usos really quickly, because the Usos did come out on SmackDown and interrupt Jacob Fatu. So the Usos came out to the ring, and guys, this is where it gets uncomfortable. Jimmy and Jay basically told Jacob, stop, don't come at the OTC. You can have everything you want if you just fall in line and stand with him. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? So my opinion on this was, I realize Roman has beaten up the Usos to the point where they have so much lack of faith in themselves. It's straight up Stockholm Syndrome. They've been conditioned to believe that the only way to survive is to stay under Roman Reigns' thumb. And from a storytelling perspective, this makes sense. And this explains why the Jey Uso push simply didn't work. The way everything was designed and scripted might have been the plan this whole time if they were telling a much broader story. So they're telling Jacob to bow so he can get fed, so he can feed his family. But they don't realize that a cage is still a cage, even if the bars are made of gold. Now, Jacob Fatu and the Usos were also interrupted by Solo Sikoa. Solo interrupts, and he actually makes the most amount of sense. He asked Jacob, where were the Usos 2 years ago when no one wanted you here? So my read on that? Solo exposed the Bloodline's lie. Roman only elevates family members when they step up, meaning when they become a threat, he needs to neutralize it. It's easier for Roman to keep them on the payroll than it is to keep fighting them. He provides for them, so he doesn't have to deal with them. So I don't think it's love. It's more of a transaction. But I think the key question that needs to be asked is, what actually is the tribal chief anyway? What is he meant to do? So I actually looked it up. A tribal chief is traditionally meant to ensure the safety and welfare of all of their people. Not just the ones who bow to him, not just the ones on TV. So the big question is, if Roman is truly the tribal chief, why is Jacob Fatu in a want and need situation in the first place? Why was a member of the family left out in the cold while Roman was living like a king? Better yet, why was a member of family left out in the cold when Roman Reigns and the Usos, the ones who fell in line, and for a while their Solo Sikoa, were living like kings? So this proves the point that I made in my last video. Roman Reigns is simply still a heel. He's just a quieter one. He only takes care of the people once they bow to him, or in his case, acknowledge him. And if you don't acknowledge him, you don't exist to him. Then we got the MFTs, the Tongans. Tama Tonga gets on the mic and calls Jacob Fatu basically a lost cause, which I don't think Jacob really appreciated, if you couldn't tell by the kick. So this is where it gets interesting. Tama isn't even blood to Solo or Jacob. To him, this is just business. But Jacob's reaction, kicking him and challenging Solo, shows that the real family is fractured. And I think WWE is teasing a family versus family feud, which would make sense considering that Tama Tonga has been pulling away from Solo Sikoa. And if you look at Tala Tonga, JC, even though JC's not family, and Tonga Loa, you can see they might be also starting to realize that Tama Tonga's correct. But back to my point, one thing to consider is that the Tongans are seriously outnumbered. I'm interested to see if WWE go in this direction, how things all play out. So I think Jacob Fatu brought up a very interesting point, and it's correct. Roman Reigns should have been out there. We should have to wait until Monday. Roman should have been out there. If Roman's conditioning of the Usos' mind fails, all he has left is his power. But we don't know what Jacob is truly capable of yet. And that's what makes it very interesting. Jacob isn't just fighting for a championship. He's fighting for the welfare that his tribal chief denied him. This isn't just a match. I personally think it's a revolution against a fake king because Roman Reigns, when you think about the definition of a tribal chief, has failed his community and his family. So I'd love to know what you think. Have I read this wrong? Has Roman Reigns really taken care of all the family, but Jacob's just being a bit selfish? Or has Roman really truly failed, and Jacob Fatu standing up against Roman Reigns to finally feed his family in the right way, to take care of his family the right way, is the correct move? I'd love to know what you think. Drop your opinion down in the comment section, and drop this video a subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.